I am really scraping the bottom of the barrel here for pro-CCP YouTubers this time. I must be a glutton for punishment. Let me introduce you to Jerry.
And I want to start off today by telling all weasels out there, who weasels.
Jerry is a South African who lives in China. He has his own YouTube channel called This is China. But I think a more appropriate name for his channel would be This is Ass Licking. He loves living in China so much because he can clearly get a lot more out of China and the people than he ever could in his home country, South Africa. He makes YouTube videos of himself walking and talking to the camera, where he makes vague, simplified observations of his surroundings. He never really dives deep into subjects and just goes on wild, subjective rants with no evidence to back up his absurd claims. His channel is mediocre at best, and so is mine, which basically qualifies me to talk about this complete idiot. Jerry thinks it's funny to call his haters weasels, but what I find funny is he actually resembles the weasel, both in appearance and personality. He is sneaky and sly, and displays Machiavellian tendencies such as deceit, manipulation, and exploitation, all of which he uses to trick the Chinese people into believing that he actually cares about them, when in fact, all he cares about is himself. We will explore this concept as the video goes on.
Today I want to talk about the Chinese people, and I think that's a very important topic to cover because there's so many people that misunderstand what the Chinese people are really about.
Well, Jerry says we misunderstand the Chinese people, but he is definitely guilty of misunderstanding the Chinese, as we will discover the more he talks.
Very small. My Chinese skill is very little.
Wow, what a surprise! Another pro-CCP YouTuber who doesn't speak a lick of Chinese and yet thinks he's an authority on China and Chinese culture. I should have guessed, really. What have I got myself in for?
It took me a while to get involved in real Chinese, a Chinese family essentially, and it took me a lot of studying into the Chinese culture and Chinese mindsets.
Here's an idea. Why doesn't Jerry learn Chinese? Then he would understand Chinese culture and the Chinese people's mindset a whole lot more.
Because there's a lot of people that don't understand what the Chinese are really all about. Now, here it goes. Let me tell you what I think.
Oh, great. We're about to hear what he thinks. I wonder what amazing insight a guy who doesn't know anything about China is going to tell us about China. I guess it will be good for a laugh though, so I'll continue watching.
So Chinese people don't really like confrontation. Now, I have said this in a previous video of mine. They really don't like confrontation. They also don't like fighting among each other. They are peaceful people that rather want to talk and solve a problem instead of protesting against people or doing physical harm against other people.
Right. Chinese people don't like confrontation. Really, Jerry? It seems he is generalizing quite a little bit here. When he says Chinese people, does he mean all Chinese people? How can billions of Chinese people all be the same? He might make more sense if he said most of the people in Qingdao don't seem to like confrontation. But to say all Chinese people don't like confrontation is ridiculous. How on earth did he come to this conclusion anyway? Does he actually engage with the locals, or is he just making observations from what he has seen with his Chinese wife's family? Maybe they don't like confrontation. Maybe he is speaking from his own experience, and in that case, I would say that most Chinese people don't like confronting a weasel like him. I can tell you from my experience that although not all Chinese people like confrontation, I have known a Chinese person or two that do like confrontation. and actively go out and seek it. Why does Jerry have to generalize so much? It's something that he consistently does throughout this entire video.
They do get angry, but you don't really see it in public.
I'm sorry, but Chinese people do get angry in public. And yes, you do see it quite a lot actually. Again, he's putting all Chinese people into the same category. I think we call this stereotyping. And it's like if I said all British men are gentlemen, or all Americans eat hamburgers, or all South Africans are racist. Huh, Jerry? Totally ridiculous.
Chinese people are also very proud people, and I don't mean this in an ugly way. They are really proud of who they are, proud of their culture, proud of their country, and also proud of their own belongings. For example, if they have a business and they do good in that business, they are proud of telling people it's their business. Proud, 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 proud.
So, I'm not sure about it, but I think what he was just saying there is that Chinese people are proud. All of them? An entire country filled with pride? I guess Western people aren't proud then, are they?
You know, they show their pride openly, and I think that is what the West also don't really understand. For us, showing pride means cocky in the Western world, but the Chinese are not like that. They are honest people.
There is this thing called humility and being humble. What he is describing is blatant boasting and showing off, which comes across as arrogant and conceited. I think people of all nationalities would make this assessment. Chinese people are honest? So does that mean Western people aren't? This is just silly talk. I have no idea why I'm watching this simplistic, elementary bullshit.
They are proud of what they have. They are proud of what they accomplished. They are proud of their stuff. And I see nothing wrong about it. You just need to understand them.
Apparently, we don't understand what pride is. So he will say it 9 times just to drill it into our heads. There is nothing wrong with being proud. But when people boast about things with a conceited arrogance and blind nationalism, then there is a problem.
If it gets to the language, there's a lot of people that say Chinese are loud, they scream, and they are, you know, overwhelmingly loud. But that's not true. They are just excited of speaking about something, and they want the whole table to hear what they have to say.
The Chinese can be very boisterous, but so can any nationality. They are not loud, but excited? What is this guy talking about? When somebody is shouting in a restaurant, and that person disturbs everybody who is just waiting to sit in the restaurant and have a quiet meal, then that is what I and most rational people call rude.
You always get that Western people that say, oh, she spoke bad about me behind my back. Did you hear what she said? I just saw her speak in another woman's ear and said I'm fat. Or whatever, something like this. The Chinese don't do it. They speak loud that everyone can hear what they have to say.
The Chinese don't do it? How does Jerry know? He doesn't even speak Chinese.
The dress code of the Chinese people. You know, there's a lot of Westerners that make fun of them for maybe wearing a purple shirt with brown pants and yellow shoes or something like that. But for me, it comes down to they don't really care how they look like in the public. It's not about it. It's about living life. They don't care if people in the streets think they dress weird or look funny.
What a complete idiot this guy is. The Chinese aren't dressing strange. They are following their fashion, and they don't make fun of each other's style because that's the fashion there. They might look strange to a Westerner because we have a different sense of style. It's as simple as that.
They really do like foreigners. The only thing is they just want to use their systems and their rules to control this country, to make it a safer and better place for their people.
Once again, how does he know what they want? Right now, I don't think the Chinese like foreigners too much because of this whole coronavirus situation. First of all, they've closed their borders, and even when foreigners were allowed to go to China during the pandemic, they were quarantined in hotels for 14 days, and yet some Chinese people were allowed to go straight home from the airport.
The Chinese people come first.
I think that's called racism where I come from.
So when foreigners do get into this country, they believe they can live the democratic lifestyle they had back home. And that's 100% not how it's going to work over here. Because the Chinese have their own systems and China's got their own rules, and they expect their foreign friends to just follow these rules and you will have a time of your life.
Jerry follows his Western lifestyle very well. He posts videos on YouTube and doesn't learn the language, culture. If he is fine with censorship that is just to protect the people, then why is he using banned foreign websites? His logic is that if we go to a country, we must accept everything they do, even if we don't agree with it. Even if we see injustices and terrible things, we should not criticize it.
But here's the thing, foreigners hate rules. They hate to stay in line.
More generalizations from Jerry. I think we should call him Generalizing Jezza. Which foreigners don't follow the rules? When he says foreigner, what does he even mean? Hundreds of different cultures, hundreds of different ideas and ways of life. He doesn't make any sense. We are all individuals, and some of us follow the rules and others don't. I have to say that if I encounter a rule that is ridiculous, then I question it, and thankfully, in a free democratic society, it is my right to do so. But unfortunately, the Chinese people are ruled by a government that thinks people don't have the right to question things, and Jerry seems to think this is perfectly acceptable.
These guys run perfect systems and their people are safe, their people are educated, their people are success machines. How can you not follow that rules? How can you think it's so cruel?
Who is he talking to here? I always try to respect different cultures and follow the rules wherever I go. But like I said, I question the rules and why they exist. Nothing cruel in that. A lot of German citizens blindly followed Hitler in the 1930s and didn't question a thing he did or said, and look at what happened there. I wonder if Jerry would follow the rules if he went to a country where they stone women to death for adultery, or would he speak up against it? Does this guy actually stand for anything? It seems like all he cares about is his self, and we are about to see clear evidence of this.
Now, if you really understand the Chinese people also, you will know that these people like to interact with other people. So if you go out for a night and you have a couple of beers, there will be Chinese people that's just buying some beer and some alcohol for you and sit next to you and talk and want to take pictures with you. A lot of foreigners see this as us invading their spaces, but that's not how it is. That's not what the Chinese people want to do. That's their way of showing they welcome you here in their country and they want to be part of you. They want to get to learn you. They want to know more about foreigners. That is how the Chinese people do it. It's very normal. And me personally, I enjoy it because if I go out, I normally take 100 RMB with me, and at the end of the night, on a good night, I'm sure the party's price tag is round about 700 to 1,000 RMB just by meeting locals and going around with them and enjoying the night with them.
So this is why Jerry loves China and the people, because he can get a load of free things from them by using his Weasel-like character to exploit the people for everything they have. He literally goes out with 100 RMB, which is around £10, and ends the night totally wasted. No wonder he loves this so much. What makes him think he's so special that he can get drinks bought for him all night just because he's a foreigner? If he really loved China and the people so much, why isn't he buying his gracious guests drinks all night? He is just a pathetic freeloader who doesn't have an opinion on anything apart from the things that will maintain his freeloading lifestyle.
Me personally, the Chinese people are my friends. I will stand up for them. I love living among them. It's fantastic people, clean people, polite people. They taught me so much in life. They make me feel welcome in their country, and they gave me the opportunity of marrying one of their citizens.
So there we have it. That's Jerry from South Africa. He's sneaky, sly, manipulative, and exploits people. He's a really shallow and self-obsessed moron. There is nothing wrong with loving China, but Jerry doesn't love China. He's only in love with what he can get out of China and will say and do anything to keep those free drinks coming in. He's the real Weasel. F you, Jerry.
The Chinese people are my friends. I will stand up for them. I love living among them. It's fantastic people, clean people, polite people. They taught me so much in life. They make me feel welcome in their country, and they gave me the opportunity of marrying one of their citizens. Weasels.
Naive.
Go.